Hey guys, welcome to Alice and Anna. My name is Anna, and this is the last part of the must-watch film series. So welcome to the 2010s. This video is going to be a little bit long because it has a lot of films. I want to make this video as short as possible, so I'm hoping for less than 15 minutes. There's a lot of films here because I don't know how they've aged, so I don't know if they're going to be classics, but for now I feel like they're very important. So let's just start, and I'm not going to go too much into them so that it's as fast as possible. So the first two films are from 2010. The first one is Inception, which is directed by Christopher Nolan, and it stars like an amazing cast. DiCaprio, Ellen Page, and a lot of people. They're all great. It's famous because nobody understands it. However, like it's just like a mind trip, and it's so good, and it's like dreams on dreams on dreams, and it's great. And then the other one is The Social Network, and this one is directed by David Fincher. Is basically the story of how Facebook started, and it's amazing. I love the cinematography in this. It's beautiful. The next four films are from 2011, and we're starting with the French film. It's called The Intouchables, and it is really funny. It's really sweet. I think it's probably the most famous commercial French film. The next one is called The Help. It stars then Octavia Spencer, Viola Davis, and what a star-studded cast. Like, it's beautiful. It's an amazing film. It's all about a writer that writes about the experiences of African American women as The Help, and it is I love that film so much. The next film is Super 8. Honestly, I would call it the original Stranger Things, and it was directed by J.J. Abrams and produced by Steven Spielberg. It's basically some kids that are filming and they stumble upon like monsters. It's super good. That was a really bad explanation. I'm sorry. Last film of 2011 was War Horse, directed by Steven Spielberg. I personally love it a lot because I'm obsessed with horses, but it has great cinematography and the story is amazing. It's actually based on a play, and the play was incredible, so check it out. The next two films are from 2012. You probably already know them. The first one is Django. This is a Quentin Tarantino film. It stars Jamie Foxx and Leonardo DiCaprio. Violent as any other Quentin Tarantino film, but oh my god, is it good. Oh, great acting, by the way, from both of the leading. Next film is called Argo. This one was directed by Ben Affleck, and he also starred in it, and it's basically a real-life story of FBI trying to extract people from a country, but they do it by staging a film production. It keeps you on this, like, on the edge of the seat. It is incredible, and it's so well done. I love this film, and I feel like nobody really knows it, but it's really good. Next three films are from 2013. The first one is The Wolf of Wall Street, a Martin Scorsese film. This one is not gangsters for once, but it does have to do with like drugs and violence and whatnot. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Margaret Robbie, Jonah Hill, Matthew McConaughey, like so many people. What I like about this movie also is that it breaks a lot the fourth wall. It's narrated in a way. It's really good. The next one is called 12 Years a Slave. It's basically an African American man who is free, and he gets invited to like an event. I don't remember specifically what, but he is sold to slavery, and it's honestly so heart-wrenching, but it's so good. It's so well done, and oof. Last film from 2013 is called Her. It stars Joaquin Phoenix, and it's basically him falling in love with a computer, who is Scarlett Johansson, like perfect voice. The cinematography in this, but also the direction in this is beautiful. And I mean, most of these films were nominated for Best Picture in the Oscars, and that probably means nothing because it's very political, but I really love this film. Okay, so the next six films are from 2014, which is, I think, a great year for cinema. The first one is Gone Girl, directed by David Fincher, and it stars Rosamund Pike, who is an incredible actress. This film is just like, for her. Like, she is incredible in this film, and Ben Affleck, and it's basically, we're following the thoughts of a woman who stages her disappearance, and it's amazing. Next film, a Christopher Nolan film, it's called Interstellar. I think this is the first time we saw Timothée Chalamet on screen. That's not what makes it like a must-watch film. It's an actually really good film. They're basically finding an alternative home for humans through a wormhole, so it all just tangles up and everything, and it stars Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. Next one, I love the soundtrack, and it's actually based on true events. It's called Selma. This movie is super important. It was directed by an African American woman. Her name is Ava DuVernay, but Oprah is in it. What else do you need to watch this? Oprah is in it. But it just goes to show you that like racism is a problem from way back then, and sadly it's still alive today, so really relevant story. Next film is The Grand Budapest Hotel. I love this color palette. It is so beautiful. Even though I don't like pinks, I love this color palette. It was directed by Wes Anderson, and it's so quirky and funny in a very Wes Anderson way, and I think this is my favorite Wes Anderson film, so must watch. Next film is called Birdman, and it was directed by a Mexican director, Iñárritu. It stars Michael Keaton and Emma Stone, and it is shot as a continuous shot, and it is beautiful. It's also very crazy, which I like. I don't know, it's a very interesting film to watch, and I definitely recommend it a lot. Next and final film from this year is called Whiplash. This was the first film from Damien Chazelle, the director of La La Land, and it stars J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller. And this story is amazing. It is the music, the sound, the score, everything is beautiful about this film. I don't know why I love it so much. The acting is 10 out of 10. We had my dog here again. He's just a weekly guest by now. The next 3 films are from 2015. The first one is called Spotlight. They won Best Picture in the Oscars, but it's basically journalists uncovering pedophilia within the priest community and how they're hiding it in the church. So it's really good. The next film is called The Lobster. It's a little bit more indie, I guess you could say, but it's not really that indie. I love this story. This story is very original. It's basically you have to find partner in 45 days or you will convert into an animal. That is so original. I love it. And the last film for this year is called Room. It stars Brie Larson, and it's basically a woman who has a child when she's kidnapped and she's enclosed in a room. And how they escape and the life afterwards. And it is so good, great acting, and it's not based on true events, but sadly it's a very common story, so. Okay, the next 4 films are from 2016. The first one is called Moonlight. What a great film. So it won Best Picture, which was like crazy because it's a low budget film. It was directed by Barry Jenkins, who is a great director, and it's basically a coming of age drama. So good. Also, the colors in this, the cinematography in this. Next film is called Arrival. I think this is one of my favorite films. It stars Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner. It's all about communication with aliens, and it is so well done. The next one is called Hacksaw Ridge, also inspired by a true story. It was directed by Mel Gibson, who, like, I never thought he would be a director, but he is. It's basically a soldier who goes into war and he doesn't want to hurt anybody, so he refuses to take arms, but he is a doctor and he saves a lot of people in this, and it is really good. Last film of this year is called Hidden Figures, and what a cast, ladies and gentlemen. Taraji P. Henson, Octavia Spencer, and Janelle Monáe. I love this so much. It's based on a true story, and it is the first African-American woman in the I think it was NASA, I'm not sure, that helps space exploration, and she is so smart, and Taraji P. Henson killed that role, and I love this film. The next films are 4 films from 2017, and honestly, another great year from films. The first one is Call Me By Your Name. You probably have heard of it. Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer star in it, and what I love so much about this film is that it's actually like treated as a love story, so they don't really fall on too many cliches, even though it is a gay love story. I think it's relatable to anybody, and it is beautifully acted. It is so well done. The score, the soundtrack, the cinematography, just everything is beautiful. Mwah, chef's kiss. Okay, next film is called Ladybird. What another... I love this film so much. Alice probably is so tired of hearing me talk about this, but it was directed by Greta Gerwig. Her directorial debut. It stars Saoirse Ronan, who is one of my favorite actresses ever, and it's a coming of age story. It's about a relationship between a mom and a daughter, and it is so beautiful. And hey, yesterday was Mother's Day. Go watch it with your mom. Next film, Dunkirk, was actually another Christopher Nolan film on this list. The cinematography in this is beautiful. Also, the score, I believe Hans Zimmer did it, and he's a beautiful composer that does incredible films, iconic films. If you look it up, it's gonna be like, oh, I know that film. It stars Fionn Whitehead, Harry Styles, which, what? We stand Harry Styles on this channel. Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, and more. I don't know all their names, sorry. The next film is called Get Out. This film is so good. The acting by Allison Williams, oof. Like when you see it the first time, you don't suspect anything, and then you see it the second time, and then you just see it. You know what I mean? Like, her acting is great. And the director and writer, Jordan Peele, the writing is so good, and it's funny, but it's scary too. Jordan Peele, what a man. Last film from this year is called The Shape of Water, directed by Guillermo del Toro, Mexican director. It's a love story, it's a romance, but it's so weird. But what I like about it is that, as he says, which is very cheesy and it's hurting me to say this, but it's called The Shape of Water because water as love takes any shape and form. So, poetic. The next 3 films are from 2018. The first one is also directed by a Mexican director, Alfonso Cuarón. It's called Roma. It's not 100% autobiographical, if that's how you say that word. I don't know how to say that word. But I think it is based on his life. The cinematography is beautiful, so beautiful, and it's in black and white, and it's in Spanish. Sorry if you're not into that, but it's on Netflix, and masterpiece. The next film is called Sorry to Bother You. It stars Lakeith Stanfield, and honestly, what an amazing actor. I think he's so underrated, and he's in a few films that are coming up as well. This is basically a telemarketer who is African American, and he figures out that using a white voice is actually better for selling. So he lets his greed get in the way and whatnot, and it's great. Next film, I chose this because of the cast and what it meant. So it's called Crazy Rich Asians, and it's the first all Asian cast in Hollywood film, of course. And then on top of that, it's the first Asian lead in 25 years. Like, yeah, oh my god. Constance Wu was incredible, and then like we later see her in Hustlers. By the way, she carried Hustlers on her back, and everybody was like, oh my god, Jennifer Lopez. But no, Constance Wu was a real hero in Hustlers. Okay, and we're getting to the last year of this decade. So it's 2019, and I have a lot of films in this, and I'm so sorry, but here they go. So the first one is Parasite. First international film to win Best Picture at the Oscars, and what a film it is. I don't even have to talk about it, just go watch it. It is that good. The next film is called Joker. Joaquin Phoenix stars in it, and what a role, honestly, what a role for Joaquin Phoenix. The cinematography in this is absolutely incredible, and the acting is beautiful. So honestly, if you don't really like the storytelling, which I did like, you could just focus on the acting and the cinematography, and you'll be entertained for a really long time. Trust me, it is so beautiful to watch. Next film is called Little Women. This is a remake, but it was remade by Greta Gerwig. She directed it and adapted the screenplay. It stars Timothée Chalamet, Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson, Florence Pugh, or whatever you say that name, and so many more, like Laura Dern, whatever. Honestly, Little Women before for me was very cringy, and this version is actually not cringy at all. I actually enjoyed it a lot, and I really like this film, and I really like the book as well. So just to see how it was transformed in a really like cool modern way, I don't know, loved it. Next film is called Jojo Rabbit. You probably heard of it because it was a little bit controversial. Well, I think people wanted it to be controversial, but it really isn't. It's a comedy film about World War II where a little kid's best imaginary friend is Hitler, and he's like going to Nazi school and whatever, but he suddenly finds a Jew hidden in his home. So it's like this whole thing. And it stars Scarlett Johansson and Taika Waititi, who is also the director and the writer. He's on another level. He's like a different type of human. Like, he is so funny, it's ridiculous. It should be illegal. I fell in love with him when he was like the Rock character in Thor. Like, I didn't even know that was him. And then I was like, that's my favorite character. And then I looked it up and it was him, and I was like, brilliant. And this film it's funny, but it has an amazing message, and at the end it really warms your heart, and like, so good. Next film, I chose it not because of like it's critically acclaimed or whatever, but I chose it because I feel like it's a modern rom-com. It's called Someone Great. It was directed and written by a woman, Jennifer Robinson. This is probably the first rom-com where I'm like, relate, like, and not like in a relate like, oh, I'm so heartbroken or whatever. Like, I mean it more of like, it's made for us, for our generation. It's not that cheesy romantic comedy where everything turns out right, you know, and they dissect a relationship, and it's beautiful. They have some really good scenes with neons and everything. Okay, the last 2 films are foreign films. The Farewell, I don't know if it's completely classified as a foreign film because I do speak English sometimes and I don't know where it was made, but it stars Awkwafina, and it's a comedy drama, and she's really funny, but she's also a great dramatic actress. I didn't expect that. The story is really touching. It's basically a woman who gets invited to a fake wedding. So she returns to China for the first time in ages, and basically her grandma is dying and she doesn't know. She's the only one who doesn't know. And the last film is called Pain and Glory, a Spanish film, and it stars Antonio Banderas and Penelope Cruz. What an acting! Like the Antonio Banderas really, like, I know him from Spy Kids, so like seeing him in like a really like serious medium is like, what? I know he's a serious actor before You Come For Me, like, you know, now I remember him from this role and not from Spy Kids, you know what I mean? It's basically a filmmaker like reflecting on his like choices and how it's affecting his present and all of that. So it's so good. But that's basically it. That's the whole list. But as always, the list of films are down below in the description box. I also left a Google Docs that is public. So in case you want to like have a checklist or whatever, all of the decades are there. You can also check out the other videos that are always here in the cards from the previous decades. And thank you so much for watching. That is the final video of the must-watch series. So hopefully all your quarantine needs are satisfied with this really super long list of films. Thank you so much, guys. Subscribe if you haven't, leave a like if you want, leave a comment if you want, and we will see you on Thursday. Bye, guys.